Larry, Joe, Legend, Bird.
Open in real fast.
Bird's pull up on Thompson. Vandeway's on him. They go to Bird. Quick turnaround. Thompson doing a good job of staying with Dennis Johnson on the way up. Bird. Got it! Bolton a nice job of covering up. Bird, three-pointer. Bang!
What was that you said about that?
Kind of such a Danny there. Give it back to me. That's why, I guess.
Well, when you feel it, you got to go with it.
Bird's quick fall away for two. But he would have had to go over quite a few people to get the pass. Bird, yes. 6:10 to play. Bird in the middle. Got it. Seconds on the clock. Top of the key, Larry. Spins, drive. Got it! Clyde looking to just work himself. Takes the fall away. Nailed it with 3 seconds left. Pass the double team in Bird. Larry, fake. Fall away. Hits it at the buzzer! All right!
Spike hard. Archibald. Bird, he just goes down the middle. That play, kind of pushing each other.
That's right. Bryant held on to Bird's hand that time. He couldn't get away.
Bryant hit it dead center. Bird, and he now has a career high of 33 points.
That's the best way to do your talking.
Judkins is the guy some people speculate may leave when Maravich is added to the team. Bird on the move. Larry Bird has already established a career high.
LeBron, Ramon, King James.
Semifinals had a great evening there.
Little shoot two. Here's LeBron, mano against mano, and to reverse the matchup. They want LeBron James with LeBron. And he deep threes. Butler, Pavlovich.
Shit on the bucket, but they're ready to come right back. But this, they have to stop right here.
LeBron James.
What do you mean you're not making a call? Oh, wow.
LeBron with a three-ball check. James from the corner, the step back. Coming up. Now James is going to have to hustle. You got 4 on the shot clock. LeBron fires it up. You got 10 on the clock. Here's James. Oh, my. Screen and roll. Now 2 on the clock. And LeBron's going to have to force it up. James puts it on the floor. He wants it. He can feel it. And he's got 50. His first NBA foul.
We'll get a big rebound now.
Goodness, 2 for 19 behind the arc. Here's James for 3. You got to be kidding me. Are you kidding me? LeBron James with 56.
He's only missed 1 game in his 3 NBA seasons. If I recall, they said he didn't have any cartilage between his bones, but it hasn't affected his career, obviously.
In the third quarter, and Coach Popovich letting him play on. LeBron for 3.
Yes! Oh, my. He's feeling it. When he's hitting the jump shot, he's almost impossible to guard.
This is a different game.
And the defense again, contesting every shot.
LeBron for 3 again.
Yes, you know, as we said, when he gets hot, unbelievable.
Miami again, a madhouse. Matter of fact, right now, it's LeBron's house. The year in 3 of 3 from Kaboom Town tonight.
Yeah, 3 for 10 coming into
everything that was dropping for the Spurs is now bouncing out for San Antonio. LeBron, another 3. Kaboom!
We've seen
raining threes in Miami.
We've seen this before, Eric, at both ends. He did that to the Heat when he was at Cleveland. He had some games like that last.
Play by Covington. James for 3. Yes.
James says, I'll take it myself. And
learn and grow together. LeBron for 3, still in the game.
No one was saying that.
James for 3. James has to come all the way back out. Knocks down.
Just understanding the brand and the success that we've had here. He'd like to be a part of that.
Davis to James. 3-pointer. Got it to that board. And how about James? Oh! Long-range missile for LeBron.
11 in the quarter. Wow, James from about 28, the most of it, which then led to this.
Today on the Louis Sports Network, we are going to determine between these 2 unbelievable legends, who is the greatest small forward of all time in NBA history. And the only reason that these two guys are in the top 10 is because you can make a case for both of these guys as the greatest small forward in NBA history. I'm going to give you detail for detail breakdown right here on the Louis Sports Network. Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back on the Louis Sports Network. It is your boy Louis, and I'm back once again with another heavy hit up banger with yet another video. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start the video, make sure y'all smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on, make sure you guys are sharing the content, and make sure you guys, as always, I always urge you, comment down below in the comment section. Truly appreciate it. So continue to spread the awareness, man. It helps the channel grow. I appreciate it. So today's quarantine episode on the Louis Sports Network: LeBron versus Larry Bird. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest small forward ever? Well, here's how I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk about both of their careers, and I'm going to put it down in some key categories, and then we're going to figure out from here who was the greatest small forward in NBA history. So let's get to it. Larry Joe Bird. We're going to start with him. Larry Legend. The Hick from French Lick. All right, so that's crazy. He was called the Great White Hope. So let's look at his career stats. 12-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champion, went to the Hall of Fame in 1998, 3-time All-NBA defensive second team. He is a 10-time All-NBA player, Rookie of the Year in 1980, made the All-Rookie team. He is the All-Star Game MVP of 1982. He is a 3-time regular season MVP, and what's impressive about that, ladies and gentlemen, he won that award 3 years in a row. He also is a 2-time Finals MVP. His career numbers consist of 24.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6.3 assists, career field goal percentage of 49.6, 37.6% from the three-point line, 88.6% from the free throw line, an effective field goal percentage of 51.4%, and he did that in 897 career games. Now, if people remember, Larry Bird did play 12 NBA seasons, but his career was cut short right after the 88 season due to the fact that he had some nagging injuries after he messed up his back in 85. Trying to build a house for his mom. He has a 23.5 career win PER, and he has 145.8 win shares. LeBron James, he's played in 1,258 games, so he has obviously more years than Larry Bird. So longevity has played a factor with LeBron. So he has 5 more years on Larry. Career stats: 27.1 points, 7.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists, 50.4% from the field for his career, 34.4% from the three-point line, 73.5% from the free throw line, and an effective field goal percentage of 54.2, 27.5 in his PER for his career, and 236 win shares for his career, and he's averaging 9.5 this season. So his career accomplishments: 16 All-Star teams. Led the league in scoring in 2007-2008. 3-time NBA champion, 15-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Defensive teams. That's 2 second teams, 4 first team. Rookie of the Year in 2004. 3-time All-Star Game MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, 4-time regular season MVP, and obviously a 3-time NBA champion. And his nicknames are the Chosen One. That was self-proclaimed by LeBron, by the way. The Akron Hammer, because he is from Akron, Ohio. So let's break it down, guys. When we talk about, so I just mentioned the career accomplishments for both of these guys. Let's look at the passing. Who is a better passer in my eyes between Larry Bird and LeBron James? Well, 7.4 assists to 6.9 assists would tell you that LeBron James is, I apologize. 6.3 assists for Larry Bird. The numbers would tell you that LeBron is a better passer. But I would give the edge to Larry Bird because Larry Bird was able to do that while playing in a system. To be able to average 6 assists playing in a system, because you have to also remember, LeBron is a beast, and he can give you some amazing numbers, but it doesn't take it into the fact that LeBron dominates the ball, and he gives you 7 assists for his career. Larry Bird didn't dominate the ball, and he was able to give you 6.3 assists for his career. That to me is remarkable. And when it comes to IQ in terms of passing, I have to give the edge to Larry Bird on that. LeBron is he's a great passer. LeBron is in the top 10 in assists all time, and I know that LeBron fans, especially fanboys and fangirls, will defend him to the T that he is a way better passer than Larry Bird. You could say that if you want to say that for your opinion, that's fine. But Larry Bird, to me, his ability to do it in a system where when you're in an equal opportunity offense, and for him to still average 6 assists for his career is still pretty good. And I think when it comes to the IQ for both individual and team IQ in terms of passing, Larry Bird trumps LeBron James in that. And that's where I see it when I study Larry Bird and I study LeBron James. Again, great passers, but I will give the edge to Larry Bird in passing. Our next category. Who's the better rebounder? Now, you can say to yourself that LeBron James, when they say better overall player, because he's a better rebounder when he's compared to some of the other guys in NBA history. When, for example, they always say that he's a better rebounder than Michael Jordan. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about rebounding. Now, LeBron is a 7-point. Let's get back to his stats real quick. LeBron is a 7.4 career rebounder in terms of average. Larry Bird averaged 10. Now, the reason that Larry Bird edges LeBron is because for this reason. LeBron James is a defensive rebounder more than an offensive rebounder. And if you look at, compared to some of the guys, I told you I compared two guys to LeBron when it came to rebounding, and that was Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. LeBron has more defensive rebounds than Michael Jordan, but that's also because he's played a lot longer. And for LeBron to be playing 17 years in the NBA, and Larry Bird has a career 10 rebounds a game, and he did that in just 12 seasons of work. Along with the fact that Michael Jordan still has a lot more offensive rebounds than LeBron James at this point in his career, that to me is very disappointing when you're considering telling a lot of people that LeBron is a better rebounder than a lot of these guys, like, oh, he's way better than Larry Bird and he's way better than Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan still has nearly 200 more offensive rebounds, and he's been retired for 17 years. And then Larry Bird has a career 10 rebounds per game average. So for those guys to accomplish that in small time, that to me tells you, is LeBron really, they just say that LeBron, in terms of rebounding, I have to also give the edge to Larry Bird because he was able to average rebounds, again, for his career to average 10 rebounds per game. And people are saying that LeBron's this great rebounder, but it's like he's not even a great offensive rebounder. And for you to be, Jordan is a better offensive rebound than LeBron, and offensive rebounds are much harder to grab than defensive rebounds. Especially if you watch LeBron play, the defense, for the most part, they do the work on defense. And then if you consider this era, a lot more long threes are taken. So, the defensive rebounds, they're a little bit easier, but offensive rebounds have always been the harder one. You can ask anybody who really knows the game. I'm sorry. Offensive rebounds are much harder. And Michael Jordan has had many seasons. Okay? We're talking about, I think, in 8 seasons. I mean, he has more. And then for Larry Bird to average, 10 for his career, I mean, that's just really saying something. So rebounding, I give the edge to Larry Bird. Now we're going to talk about who was pretty much the better scorer. To be honest with you, this is nip and tuck. This is very difficult. I probably would give the slight edge to LeBron James on this one, but you can make a case with Larry Bird because of the fact that Larry Bird in his prime was arguably the best scorer of his time. Compared to these two, it's just that Larry Bird, again, when it comes to him, his career kind of gets cut short because his prime was really from his rookie year all the way up to 1988. All the other years, Larry Bird really couldn't play due to injuries. And even when he was on the Dream Team, Larry Bird was pretty much on the back end of his career, and he had to retire due to his nagging injuries. So, I mean, if we look at peak for peak, I think they're both right on par. So I would give a check to the both of them in terms of scoring. I know some people are going to prefer LeBron, some people are going to prefer Larry Bird, but I will give a check to both of those guys, at least peak for peak, when we talk about basketball careers in terms of scoring. Okay, so we have that. Now we're talking about who's the better shooter. This is clearly Larry Bird for this reason. LeBron obviously has a career 50.4 field goal percentage and Larry Bird has 49.6. But what they're not going to tell you is that Larry Bird can score in so many different ways. If you look at LeBron's career, he's improved his jump shot, no doubt, but the large percentage of his points comes within from 0 to 3 feet. And if you look at his field goal percentage for his career, over 60, I believe it's over 64 or 65% of his points are in the paint. Larry Bird can score anywhere on the floor, in the post, pinch post, mid post, from the 3-point line, and he could do it in a variety of ways. And the thing is, he shoots very, very efficiently from that, from the distances that he shoots from, anywhere from 10 to 16 feet. And then you have to also include free throw shooting. LeBron is only 73.6% for his career. Larry Bird is at 88.6, I'm sorry, which puts Larry Bird in the top 15 of all-time greatest free throw shooters. That's a weakness in LeBron's game. So shooting, you have to give it to Larry Bird. And three-point shooting, Larry Bird is 37.6 compared to LeBron's 34%, for his career. Even though people want to say, well, Larry Bird wasn't attempting as many threes as LeBron is doing here in today's era. So yeah, you can make you want to make that argument, okay? But again, you have to give Larry Bird the edge when it comes to overall shooting. So there we have that. Defense. Now, Larry Bird is no slouch. Larry Bird made 3 all-defensive second teams, but you have to give it to LeBron James because LeBron James won. He's made 6 all-NBA defensive teams, but he has 4 first team. And Larry Bird was not able to make first team all-NBA defense in his career, but Larry Bird was no slouch on defense. Larry Bird definitely had very good anticipation. Larry Bird had very quick hands. And he did a really good job defensively staying in front. The one disadvantage that Larry Bird has when it comes to him and LeBron is Larry Bird actually moved pretty solidly laterally. It's just he didn't have foot speed, something that LeBron has. So when you talk about overall athlete, you're talking about LeBron is a much better athlete than Larry Bird. So that helps him on the defensive end. So I will give the slight edge pretty much to LeBron James on defense, but Larry Bird by no means was no slouch on defense. Okay, so we have that. Now we have to talk about IQ. Now, this is where Larry Bird trumps LeBron James here because LeBron James has great individual basketball IQ. But Larry Bird not only has great individual basketball IQ, but Larry Bird has great team IQ when it comes to basketball. He knows how to cooperate his teammates. Larry Bird knows how he can be the system, obviously, and then obviously he can play in a system. LeBron James was kind of forced to play that in Miami, and I'm going to make the case that obviously that was probably the best version of LeBron James we saw. And what's unfortunate for LeBron is when he went back to Cleveland, he went back to the me system, me, myself, and I in the LeBron James system. Even if they did win an NBA championship, LeBron James did not decide to play in the system. He decided to play the LeBron James system. And that still tells me that even when he was in Miami, he was comfortable playing off the ball. He was kind of forced to do it. And like I said, we saw the best version of LeBron James in Miami. And for Larry Bird to be able to play in a system and, like I said, give you the numbers that he gave, again, it's pretty remarkable. So when it comes to individual and team IQ, that has to go to Larry Bird, in my personal opinion. Now, intangibles. Intangibles don't really put the measure on as to, who's great. Both of these guys are great players. You can make a case for both of them as being the greatest small forward of all time. Again, it comes down to personal preference. And again, people are going to kind of use the longevity as to why it hurts Larry Bird to make a case. But again, it depends on who you like and why you think where you measure these guys as who is the greatest small forward of all time. So then when you get to hardware, when we're talking about intangibles, I mean, you could make a case for both of these guys. Again, I would give the slight edge to Larry Bird when it comes to intangibles. And Larry Bird was able to do this not really being that great of an athlete. I think Larry Bird is a good athlete. LeBron James has the physical, like I said, he has the physical advantages right there. When it comes to his physical gifts, and it's crazy because I think if LeBron had worked on his game and really honed his skills, LeBron James would be making a case for being the greatest of all time, and that would even include in his victories. So when you look at the MVPs, LeBron has got 4, Larry Bird has 3. Finals MVPs, LeBron has 3, Larry Bird has 2. In other words, that tells you how close that they are. It's really not that drastic. But again, if you're taking prime for prime, who are you going to take pretty much, in the prime of their careers? At least when you can compare their careers peak to peak. That's your personal preference. I'm looking at Larry Bird in that aspect. But now we got to talk about clutch. Who was more clutch between these two, LeBron James and Larry Bird? Now, LeBron James, in terms of clutch, he's more willing to take some big baskets. LeBron James has played well in big games, so I'm not gonna sit here and deny and say that LeBron is an overrated clutch player, because that's not true. Larry Bird definitely is one of the most clutch players in NBA history. Let me just give you a quote. If I needed a basket to win a game, I take Michael Jordan. If I needed a basket to save my life, I take Larry Bird. That was the great Pat Riley who said that. Larry Bird is definitely one of the more clutch players in NBA history. LeBron definitely is. He's not the greatest clutch player, but to say that he's not clutch is not true. So I'm going to give LeBron respect in that aspect. But when it comes to clutch between these two, Larry Bird all day. But some people would take LeBron, and like I said, I wouldn't be mad at you for that. So that's fine when it comes to clutch players. So keep in mind that this is going to be one of the more longer videos as I'm comparing both of these guys. So now we have to talk about who is the greatest. Who is the greatest between Larry Bird and LeBron James? Who's the greatest small forward of all time? This is now where I talk about when we talk about winning. People will say it's unfair to compare LeBron to Larry because Larry had great teams and LeBron didn't. And I would beg to differ on that, because LeBron James has made 9 NBA Finals appearances compared to Larry Bird's 5 in the 80s. And if you look at Larry Bird's competition in the 80s, you have the Boston Celtics, not the Boston Celtics, you have the Philadelphia 76ers, and you have the Detroit Pistons. So Larry Bird went to 5 finals in the 80s, but remember, Philadelphia won in 1980, they also won in 82, and they won in 83. So there's 3 right there for Philly. If you look at the Detroit Pistons, they went to the finals in 88 and 89. And Larry Bird was pretty much went to the finals in between that, but he lost to beat Dr. J, but he also lost to Dr. J in 80 and I think in 80 and 82. So Larry Bird had actually a much more difficult road to the finals because the East was in his heyday. With LeBron did go to 8 straight finals. You have to counter the fact that LeBron did form 2 different teams to go there, because or else his final streak would have not gone there. So look at it this way. Also, the free agency did not start until 1989. So that also takes into account that LeBron James has been able to create more opportunities in the free agency era to go to 9 finals and obviously 8 straight. But they've won the same amount of championships, and LeBron only has 1 more regular season MVP and 1 more finals MVP. Now, if LeBron, to me, what would put him above Larry Bird for me is if he was to win 1 more championship and 1 more finals MVP. And the reason I say that is because the fact that LeBron James, peak for peak, you can make the case that Larry Bird is better. And for LeBron to have played 17 seasons and only has 3 NBA championships, Larry Bird pretty much got 3 rings by 7 years. And like I said, when you consider Larry Bird's competition, it was tough. So for him to do what he did, even with quote unquote, even with a stacked team, but there were lesser teams as well in the 80s compared to the 90s and to 2000s. So that's why I say that I give the edge to Larry Bird as the greatest small forward of all time and in my top 5, and I have him 5th all time. And the reason being is because even with playing with players as Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson and Bill Walton in '86, Rick Carlisle, who currently coaches the Dallas Mavericks, and then you obviously got Kevin McHale and Danny Ainge. The thing is, people would say that he played on a stacked team. But then it's like you'll use that argument to go against Michael Jordan. If Larry Bird was on a stacked team, wasn't that the same team that Michael Jordan went up against? Especially when you consider that Michael Jordan was on a team full of cokeheads. And it was well documented in the documentary. 21-year-old MJ, that already debunks the myth that Michael Jordan was, he played with cokeheads on his team. It was well documented and it showed in the documentary. And Larry Bird's 86 Celtics are considered arguably the greatest team of all time. 40-1 at the Boston Garden, 41 at home, 67 wins. Larry Bird was the MVP. He won his 3rd straight MVP award. You're playing with dude, they were the #1 defense in the NBA. That team went 15-3 in the postseason, along with that 67-win season. They're among the greatest teams of all time. And if you play them in 2K, they're one of the greatest teams of all time actually played when you look at it. So yes, Larry Bird, for the fact that he accomplished just about as much as LeBron did in a much shorter amount of time. And LeBron, even though he has longevity and has obviously accumulated more statistics than Larry Bird, and Larry Bird, when you compare the career points, LeBron James has 33,993. Larry Bird has 21,791. Larry Bird doesn't get hurt. That dude is threatening for 30,000 points. And their numbers would probably be even more comparable. So, but at the end of the day, I got Larry Legend as the greatest small forward of all time. LeBron will surpass him if he wins another championship and wins another championship. If he can get another Finals MVP on top of that, that would give him 4 rings, 4 Finals MVPs. Then he'll start to separate himself and then put himself in that greatest of all time. But the thing that also hurts LeBron is because he does the media narratives instead of just playing basketball, it also kind of hurts him, which is why for you to have 9 finals trips, 8 straight finals trips, control of the free agency era, control of your destiny and where you go, and the Lakers are being his 3rd team, it's like he failed to make Miami a dynasty, unfortunately. With the promise that he was out by year 4. Cleveland only has 1 championship in the 11 seasons that he played in Cleveland. So they didn't make Cleveland into a dynasty. So it's kind of like, yeah, LeBron promised Cleveland a championship, he got it, but he made empty promises. He really would be. It's crazy how LeBron would probably be even much more respected if he was somehow able to been able to have played in a system and with the talent that he had with Cleveland, turn him into a dynasty. It's just unfortunate he didn't do that. And now we're in year 2, and if LeBron doesn't win a championship, even though he wins one with every team, it's like, you got to think about it. So who was the greatest small forward between Larry Bird and LeBron James? Comes down to personal preference with your favorite player between the two, but I would have to give the slight edge to Larry Bird. Larry Bird is number 5 on top of my list. Both of these guys are top 10 all-time greats. The reason that LeBron is in the top 10 is because you could make the case that he's the greatest small forward of all time. That's kind of why. But I'm going to choose Larry Bird over LeBron. So ladies and gentlemen, this was a thorough breakdown of Larry Bird versus LeBron James right here on the Louis Sports Network. Let me know in your opinion, who is the greatest small forward of all time. And as always, you already know the slogan as we do on the Louis Sports Network. Bless up, live, laugh, love. This is a very thorough video. So again, thank you for watching.